When I was 4 years old, I was adopted because my mommy was a drug addict and she had to go to jail. And I was adopted with my little sister, Krista, who is my life. And we were put in school like we were supposed to. And I went through all 13 years of school. And around my junior year of high school, I decided that I was not going to go to college. Stop it. I was not going to go to college. Hold on a second.
My 13th year of school start there.
When I was a junior in high school, I decided that college wasn't for me and started looking into the military. And at first, I really wanted to be in the Marine Corps, but looked into that boot camp because I had a really good friend that was in it, and he's a tough guy and came back and told me not to do it because of how ridiculous it is. So I looked into the Army and the Air Force and then finally talked to a Navy recruiter, and even though they all lied to me, he didn't lie to me as much. And I joined the Navy in January of 2010 and was in a program called the VET program where you just go and train and learn everything that you need to know before boot camp. And I left September 8th of 2010 to pursue my career, but it was about 2 weeks before I finished training that cracked both my shins and fractured my hip, and had to get sent home. And it was the worst day of my life, the day the doctor told me that I could not finish training because of how bad my legs were. And they tried what they could. They did everything they could. They tried to get me to start running again, but that only made everything worse. So they put me in a program, or like a separation group, which is called SEPS, and that's where I met my best friend. Her name's Nikki, and we got along very, very well. There was also a group of other girls there that were just great to be around. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot in that experience. I was in boot camp for a good 3 months longer than what I was supposed to be, but that's okay. When I told my parents that I was coming home, they didn't have it. They weren't about that because they thought I purposely broke my legs so that I didn't have to finish it, which I think is stupid, because why would someone purposely break their legs for something that they have waited so long to be in? And I fought my case for them, which I knew I was going to lose. I had to write a letter to the captain of the whole base and tell him why I think I should stay, and obviously it worked because I'm not in uniform right now. And when the day came for me to leave, the day I left was December 7th, and which was like 2 weeks before my 180 day, which meant I could have had all of my benefits. I could have everything being paid for, but I didn't get it. And my parents told me she's not even come home while my mom did. My mom told me she's not even bothered coming home. So what I did was called Nikki, and then Nikki's mom said I could stay with her just until I figured everything out. And I stayed with Nikki for 2 weeks in December and left.
December 20th, and I left December 20th. And go ahead, yeah.
And I left December 20th from Mickey's house and went back home to my family for Christmas. And we do a big family reunion thing for Christmas, which I was so excited that I was able to be home for that, because it looked like while I was still in boot camp that I wouldn't be leaving in enough time to be home for Christmas. And I did that, spent Christmas with everybody, and everything at home was getting rough because me and my mom were arguing and just fighting, and it just wasn't good because she thought I did all that on purpose, but I didn't. And one day, it was like our 5th argument since I had been home for like 4 days, and when people argue, for some reason, they have to be like, is there anything else you need to say? And I looked at my mom, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to tell everybody. So she's like, okay. And as soon as my dad got home from work that day, she called everybody into the living room. She called me upstairs She called everybody into the living room, called me up from downstairs, and we all sat down, everybody, me, my sisters, I have 2 sisters, and my dad, and my doggy, and my mom, and I remember exactly where everyone was sitting. You guys don't know what my living room looks like, but my mom was in a chair, my sister was on the couch, I was in another chair, my sister was right next to my little sister was right next to me, and my dad was on like a foot rest. And it was dark, the Christmas tree was lit, and they were like, so what do you need to tell us? I was like, I don't know how to say this, and they're like, well, just say it. I was like, it's really hard to just say. So they went through all these things, and they were like, are you pregnant? Can't really remember everything they went through. They're like, you have an eating disorder, all that shit. Then finally, my dad, everyone just shuts up. My dad looks at me and he goes, are you gay? And I said yes. And he got up and started to cry, came over to me, and I'm gonna cry. He gave me a hug and said, I love you, you're my daughter, no matter who you love, I will always love you. And all my mom said was, are you going to get back into the Navy? And I said, yes. And that was the end of that conversation. So that night, my sister had to work, and when it was time for her to get off, because she can't drive yet, I didn't want to go get her, so my dad did. And I don't know where my older sister was. She was somewhere in her room, and my mom was sitting on the computer and I was sitting on the couch, and I could just feel the tension with her. And she turned around and she told me I was sick and disgusting, and she said, have you ever even tried to even know that you were? And I looked at her and I said, yes, I have. And she's like, that's disgusting. And I had texted my best friend, Anthony, and asked him if I could stay with him that night, and he said that was fine. And I got up, I said, Mom, I'm going to stay with Anthony tonight. And she said, no, you're not. I was like, I'm 18 years old. I want to get out of the house. I was like, I'll be back in the morning. She's like, you might as well pack everything up and leave. So I did. And I left with Anthony and his boyfriend that night and stayed with him for 2 weeks, trying to like rush and find myself.
Trying to rush
and find somewhere to stay, and I asked everybody, and everybody still lived with their parents, and finally I got in contact with Nikki's mom and told her the whole situation, and she said she would be glad to let me live with them just as long as I paid rent. So I left and was back in Jackson around like January, at the end of January, and I paid my rent when I got there, did everything she wanted me to do, and lived with them until I was with them for a good while, and they let me up Springville, and I stayed in Jackson, and I have a job now, and I guess I pretty much work for this place, and I'm gay. And I guess I should tell you about Justine.